Very public people tend to treasure their privacy. Except, as Serena Altschul explains, when Architectural Digest rings the bell.
Hi, AD. Come on in.
Okay, admit it. Most people like to take a peek at how the rich and famous live.
I love my table.
Right?
But the craziest stuff happens in my karaoke room.
It's an escape. And these days, a needed guilty pleasure.
One of our elements of high design are these signs everywhere.
After being stuck inside our own homes for the past 2 years.
Hello, AD.
Well, we're in luck.
Welcome to my home.
Month after month, bold-faced names like tennis star Maria Sharapova open their doors for Architectural Digest.
Your bowling alley really stood out.
I think that stands out for me too.
Are you a
not
bowler?
that I'm a bowler or anything.
Bowling alley aside, Sharapova's home is a place she finds refuge after jetting around the world.
It's a safe place to come home to. It's sheepskin.
A place she felt safe letting AD inside for a glimpse.
I think from an outside perspective, people only see what you give them, right? But there's also a human element to every athlete, and this was a really incredible opportunity to show that to the world.
My life centers around playing, so I always want to be able to pick up an instrument and play.
Interior design-obsessed rocker Lenny Kravitz agrees.
As a designer, being on the cover of AD is an honor, of course. It's like being a musician and being on the cover of Rolling Stone.
And the featured piece here is this red velvet chair that belonged to Andy Warhol.
This month's cover features the annual AD 100 list, the very best designers in the business. For a century now, Architectural Digest has been taking note of how and where we live.
Should I sign it to both of you?
Just before the pandemic, the magazine celebrated 100 years with a book of its favorite homes and a stylish party.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
Vogue Global Editorial Director Anna Winter helps oversee AD for parent company Condé Nast.
To be in an Architectural Digest meant that you'd achieved great heights and that it was the final stamp of recognition.
In 2016, Winter's protege, Amy Astley,
Thank you, Anna,
was hired to boost the brand.
I think she brought it a new perspective, a younger perspective, and she brought it charm and personality and intelligence, and it was a little bit less maybe rigid than it had been before.
I wanted it to be buzzy, current, relevant, people to talk about it, which now people will say to me, I saw Maria Sharapova on the cover, I saw Lenny Kravitz on the cover, I saw...
Astley's first cover as editor-in-chief was fashion designer Marc Jacobs.
Lots of people had asked him in New York and he had said no. So he was waiting for the right moment, and Architectural Digest was the right moment for Marc Jacobs.
Now even the most private A-list stars seem to pull back the curtain.
What is it about human nature that makes us so curious about each other's homes?
Yeah.
Is it fantasy?
Yes.
Is it, voyeurism?
You want to see how other people live.
Yeah.
It's an enduring interest to see beautiful homes, how other people live, what that could look like. Maybe it's inspiring, or maybe you're like, oof, I hate that. And I think that's also just a sense of hope for people.
Right.
Someday, I'm going to have the house I really want. You know,
Look
but
at
you get a
that.
sense of the chairs.
The
That's a very
tulips
classic
and-
chair that we still see. But it is a snapshot of that time.
And boy, has the way we live changed since the Architectural Digest was founded in California in 1920.
I mean, the old ways people lived, very formal, very stiff. It's completely different now. You know, like you wouldn't have had an open kitchen in the old days.
No one would want to live near the refrigerator and the
No.
stove. Bathrooms.
Right. You wouldn't show that back in the day, and now it's a trophy room, you know.
Led for decades by the late editor Paige Rents, AD has both recorded and set design styles.
it's really wild to see the different trends in decorating. Or here's the glamorous, nighttime shoot in the dark. Now we mainly shoot in daylight because, tastes change and times change.
And those times are captured in a time capsule.
Where are we headed?
We're headed to cold storage, Serena.
Okay, what's in here?
Delicate materials.
We got a rare look inside the Condé Nast archive.
This is the vault. Cold storage. Oh my gosh.
It's 40 degrees
Whoa.
in here.
It's an ice locker.
We're in the cold storage. It's like a converted meat locker.
Right.
It's like walking back in time.
It really is. And no one gets to come in here.
No, I don't. This is special for you.
AD's original files and images, like Fred Astaire's living room, are stored in perfect order, naturally, next to other legendary titles like Vogue and The New Yorker.
And how fun is this, Vanity Fair? This is why we're not allowed here, because
Right.
I am snooping around where I am not meant to be.
I have a feeling that your home pretty much looks this together most of the time.
100% it does.
And there's a pretty good reason why. Interior designers Nate Berkus and Jeremiah Brent and their 2 kids are familiar faces in Architectural Digest, along with their homes.
My mom was an interior designer, so we had a subscription to AD growing up, and it was always on the coffee table until it got too high, and then my mom would move the old issues somewhere else. But it was the magazine you didn't throw away, because it really was a documentation of the history of design.
Even for star designers, it's still a thrill to say yes to AD.
You have to be pretty much willing to swing the doors open as wide as possible to say, this is our life, please welcome. We would love to have this record of this time in our lives and this time in particular in our kids' lives.
There's such an emotional component to it. It's really special.
And that's always been AD's secret, eliciting an emotion, a special feeling of home.
Architectural Digest has lasted 100 years because of the quality of the mission, that we're showing you the best.